country. For the safety and comfort of those around you, we ask that you remain in place until our distinguished guests have departed the area. Restroom facilities are located inside the Finkston Reception Center and can be accessed through the front entrance. During this morning ceremony, smoking and the consumption of alcoholic beverages is not permitted. Please be cautious while ascending and descending the bleachers. Please use handrails where available and watch for tipping, slipping, or falling hazards. Finally, please remain in your respective seating area when taking photos during the ceremony. At this time, please find a place to sit. Thank you and enjoy today's ceremony. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the arrival of our official party.
Forward, march.
Please remain standing for the invocation given by Chaplain Reed.
I invite you to pray with me, if you will. Good and loving Lord, as summer slowly gives way to the crisp autumn here at Lackland Air Force Base, we pause to give thanks and reflect on the accomplishment of completing basic military training. We give you thanks for your faithfulness to us, that in calling each of us to greatness, you have not left us to struggle alone, that in calling each of us to life and in abundance, you have surrounded us with each other. Lord, these men and women who stand before you have experienced the shuffle of squadron realignment, squadron relocation, and have learned the lesson that only experience can teach. There is no challenge that cannot be overcome with equal parts flexibility and strength. You, Lord, who are ever ancient and ever new, draw each of us towards the future and to the best version of ourselves. May we make haste and hold the line. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain Reed. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's Basic Military Training Graduation Ceremony. We would like to introduce our distinguished guests, beginning with the hosts for today's ceremony. The Commander, Air Force Basic Military Training, Colonel Jeff Pixley, accompanied by his wife, Andrea. The Senior Enlisted Leader, Air Force Basic Military Training, Chief Master Sergeant Leary Gaitan. Also in attendance with us today, the former Director of the Integrated Resilience Office, Headquarters United States Air Force, Major General James Johnson, United States Air Force, retired. The Commander, 37th Training Wing, Colonel Rocky Wilson, accompanied by his wife, Nisa. The Command Chief, 37th Training Wing, Chief Master Sergeant Mike Morgan. The Vice Commander, 37th Training Wing, Colonel Trey Irick. Although time does not permit us to introduce all of our distinguished guests, the 737 Training Group is proud to welcome each of you. We hope you enjoyed today's ceremony. Our Commander of Airmen is Major Robert Glover, Commander, 433rd Training Squadron. Colonel Jeff Pixley will review today's ceremony. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the playing of the national anthem. Thank you. Please be seated. 737 Training Group, United States Air Force, Joint Base San Antonio, Lackland, Texas. Subject, Commander's Excellence. The Commander's Excellence Streamer is awarded to the 433rd Training Squadron, Flight 802, for their significant accomplishments demonstrating teamwork, excellence, and esprit de corps during the period of 23 August 2021 to 7 October 2021. Signed, Jeffrey Pixley, Colonel, United States Air Force. Ladies and gentlemen, the graduating airmen and guardians passing in review today represent a portion of the men and women who will complete basic military training this year. The 737 Training Group provides all recruits the essential military training to become motivated members of the world's greatest air and space forces. The military training instructors are responsible for the indoctrination, development, and discipline of the Airmen and Guardians. They have dedicated endless hours to ensure all training objectives are met. Today's graduates have proven through academic studies, military training, physical training, and the development of teamwork that they are ready to take their place in the United States Air and Space Forces. Now passing in review, from the 433rd Training Squadron, the Commander of Airmen, led by Major Robert Glover, Commander, Hometown, Jackson, Tennessee. Flight 806, led by Master Sergeant Jamie Bishop, Military Training Instructor, Hometown, Mansfield, Ohio. Flight 807, led by Technical Sergeant Nicholas Walker, Military Training Instructor, Hometown, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Flight 808, led by Staff Sergeant Sarah Bento, Military Training Instructor, Hometown, San Jose, California. Commander's Excellence Flight, Flight 802, led by Technical Sergeant Tristan Martin, Military Training Instructor, Hometown, Roy, Utah. Flight 803, led by Sergeant Jelani Alcott, Military Training Instructor, Hometown, Kea'au, Hawaii. Flight 805, led by Technical Sergeant Kyle Edmondson, Military Training Instructor, Hometown, Fairfield, California. PT Excellence Flight, Flight 798, led by Technical Sergeant Michelle Holt, Military Training Instructor, Hometown, St. Louis, Missouri. Flight 804, led by Technical Sergeant Kyle Graber, Military Training Instructor, Hometown, Arthur, Illinois. Flight 799, led by Technical Sergeant Ryan Lowe, Military Training Instructor, Hometown, Key Largo, Florida. Flight 801, led by Staff Sergeant Drayson Reese, Military Training Instructor, Hometown, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Flight 795, led by Technical Sergeant Josiah Jeevry, Military Training Instructor Trainer, Hometown, Killingly, Connecticut. Special Warfare Flight, Flight 796, led by Technical Sergeant Jorge Rosales, Military Training Instructor, Hometown, Riverside, California. PT Excellence Flight, Flight 800, led by Technical Sergeant Garrett Jimenez, Military Training Instructor, hometown, Winchester, Virginia. Special Warfare Flight, Flight 797, led by Technical Sergeant Joseph Saldivar, Military Training Instructor, hometown, Tracy, California. Flight 791, led by Technical Sergeant Danielle Eaton, Military Training Instructor Trainer, hometown, Stafford, Virginia. Flight 792, led by Technical Sergeant Michael Smith, Military Training Instructor Trainer, hometown, Tony, Alabama. Flight 793, led by Technical Sergeant Jeremy Glenn, Military Training Instructor, hometown, Yuma, Arizona. Academic Excellence Flight, Flight 794, led by Technical Sergeant Makisha Jones, Military Training Instructor, hometown, Fort Wayne, Indiana. Musical support for this morning's ceremony has been provided by graduating airmen and guardians from the 433rd Training Squadron, performing under the direction of Master Sergeant Miles Hudlow, Military Training Instructor, hometown, Raleigh, North Carolina. These individuals have been hand-selected to perform for today's ceremony. Ladies and gentlemen, Chief Master Sergeant Leary Gaitan will now come forward and say a few words.
Good morning. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my home, the birthplace of the American Airmen and American Guardians. Moms, dads, brothers, uncles, sisters, grandmas, I want you to take a look at the men and women standing before you, and they have changed. I'm going to keep my words short because I know all you want to do is to run down here, hug their necks, poke them in their ribs, and see if we've been feeding them right. But I will tell you, they're no longer the same person you sent us. Because you see now they're going to square every corner that they walk around. Moms, and guess what? They know how to make their beds now. Yeah. They know how to do their laundry. And you know what? They have finally finished something they told you they were going to do. So, as a parent myself, I will tell you, stand to your feet, if you will. Please stand up. And let's welcome this next generation of airmen into our United States Air Force. Let me hear you. We could not be more prouder than them. Please, please have your seats. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and those watching via live streams. Congratulations to our graduates. Graduates, families, you see, the men and women who have come before you have airlifted troops and supplies into the jungles of Vietnam. They have executed precision airstrikes in the deserts of Iraq and Afghanistan. They have delivered humanitarian aid into the villages of Africa, South America. They have launched satellites, flown missiles, defended airstrips, and strengthened our nation's partnerships. They have stood on the North Pole, the South Pole, and everywhere in between. Trainees, last night we had a great conversation. Colonel Pixley and I told you about our expectation of you and all the things we needed to do, you needed to do in order to propel our Air Force into the future, and how do we compete in a great power competition environment. But as Mark Twain has once said, if I had more time, I will write you a shorter note. So trainees, I'm going to leave you with three main things. First, I want you to do the best that you can with what you know. And once you know better, simply do better. Secondly, as a chief, I will ask you to treat our generals the same way you treat your fellow airmen. Because you see, they're the ones who are going to help you make our Air Force a better place, a more diverse and inclusive force that we need to defend and support our Constitution of the United States. Lastly, we live in a world that has many challenges. Our nation enemies, as we stand here, they are watching us and they want to see us fail. We cannot let them see that. Therefore, I need you to be patient with yourself and know that not all things come at one time. I want you to be patient with yourself because, you see, not everything blooms all year in nature. There's a season for everything. Take your time, hone your craft, become more lethal, become a better mom, a better dad, a better husband, a better son, a better daughter every single day that you wake up. So, as your superintendent, I hereby acknowledge your completion of all graduation requirement, and at this time, Colonel Pixley has approved you to receive your coveted Airman's Coin. This coin, though a simple coin, it signifies your transition today from trainees to airmen. Congratulations. Military training instructors, you may proceed.
The military training instructors will distribute the Venerable Airman's Coin, and for the first time, distinct Space Force coins to our Space Force graduates. The lore of military coins has many colorful suspected origins. However, a popular story stems from World War I, where American volunteers formed flying squadrons in France during the Great War. One of the volunteers was a wealthy lieutenant who took great pride in his service and had medallions cast in bronze, with his squadron's emblem on them. He gave those medallions to every member of his unit. Not long after, one of the pilots was shot down behind enemy lines and was captured by a German patrol. The German forces confiscated the pilot's possessions except for the pilot's medallion that he wore around his neck. While in confinement in a small French village, the captured pilot took advantage of a nighttime bombardment by the Allies. He donned civilian clothes and escaped after crossing the front lines to safety. He came across a French outpost where he was initially thought to be a saboteur until he showed them his unit coin. The French forces recognized the unit emblem, and instead of any harsher treatment, he received a bottle of wine. Today, several military units have developed their own coins and specific rules for them. Many organizations give out their unit coins to recognize outstanding performances and achievements. The coins the airmen and space professionals receive today are unique in that they originate here at the gateway to the Air Force and are only given to those who complete this rigorous course of instruction. On one side of the airman's coin, the original emblem of the Air Force resides as envisioned by General Henry Hap Arnold, one of the first military aviators and later commander of the Army Air Forces in World War II. Beneath the emblem, the year 1947, the birth date of the United States Air Force, and around the rim of the coin, the core values of the Air Force: integrity first, service before self, and excellence in all we do. Inscribed on the other side of the coin is the newly recognized emblem of the Air Force, a symbol that honors the heritage of our past and represents the promise of our future. The emblem retains the core elements of the Henry Hap Arnold emblem, the Arnold wings, and the star within a circle. The modern effect of the emblem reflects our Air and Space Force today and into the future. Inscribed in a half circle above the contemporary Air Force emblem is the Air Force motto, "Aim high, fly, fight, win." And on the border of the coin, a reminder to all who see this is inscribed, "Awarded on the occasion of becoming an airman in the world's greatest Air Force." The Space Professional coin also has a distinctive design. On one side, it displays the original emblem of the Space Force, the Delta, which was first used by space units in 1961, and honors the heritage of the United States Space Force. Beneath the emblem is the year 2019, the birth date of the United States Space Force. Inscribed on the other side of the coin is the Space Force motto, "Semper Supra," which translates to "always above." This represents the Space Force's role in establishing, maintaining, and preserving our nation's dominance and freedom of operations in the space domain. On the coin's border is a commemorative inscription that reads, "Awarded on the occasion of becoming a charter member of the United States Space Force."
Ladies and gentlemen, we would like to take this opportunity to recognize basic military training's most outstanding performer, someone who demonstrated their ability to successfully navigate all assessments, testing their physical abilities, academic aptitude, and adaptability to the military environment through multiple progress checks. This airman has surpassed all others in the challenges of training and has earned the distinction of being the top graduate of this class. The top graduate is from Flight 795, Airman Mitchell Brown. The recruiter of Airman Brown is Master Sergeant Joseph Spears from the 330th Recruiting Squadron, 369th Recruiting Group. Flight commanders, place your flights at attention. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand as a sign of unity as our top graduate leads us through the Airman's Creed. Congratulations, Airmen and Guardians. Now, how about that squadron pride? Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Flight commanders, place your flights at ease. Ladies and gentlemen, Colonel Jeff Pixley will now come forward and address our newest airmen and guardians.
You know, I've been to more than 100 BMT graduations, and that never fails to hit me right here. So if you didn't feel that right here, you need to see a doctor. There's something wrong inside. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished visitors, and everyone watching online, I hope the live stream is back up. You made it. For those of you joining us online, I know you wish you could be here too, but make no mistake, your love and enthusiasm come through loud and clear as we gather to acknowledge the incredible transformation our airmen and specialists made in just such a short time. 7.5 weeks ago, we received the most valuable thing our nation has to offer: citizens willing to serve a cause bigger than themselves. These are your sons and daughters, husbands, wives, significant others, in some cases, your moms and dads. Your encouragement got them here, and I know the letters, phone calls, and probably lots of prayers motivated them as they stepped up to serve in the world's greatest Air Force and Space Force. I want to take this opportunity to personally thank you for that support and encouragement, but most importantly, thank you for your trust. Putting a loved one on a plane or a bus to BMT has always been a significant emotional event. Just ask my mom. Doing that during a global pandemic, however, is another thing altogether. Your willingness to do so tells me everything I need to know about your love for our country. I would also like to acknowledge our active duty members and veterans in the audience. Thank you for your service And thank you for encouraging your loved ones as they follow in your footsteps and carry on the honorable tradition of service and sacrifice. They stand, indeed we stand, on your shoulders. Thank you to the veterans in the crowd. The 697 men and women before you represent the best our country has to offer. Among them are 67 members of the Air National Guard, 56 members of the Air Force Reserves, and 1 United States Space Force specialist. These active duty Guard and Reserve members are now part of our total force, an agile team of highly trained and ready airmen and specialists poised to serve when our nation calls. These graduates represent the whole of our country. They come from across all of our 50 states, bringing with them their own backgrounds, histories, individual attitudes, interests, and regional idiosyncrasies. That's a good thing. Contrary to popular belief, when they get here, we don't break them down and build them back up. We take what you sent us and we made it better. We build on the foundation that you gave them growing up, the values they developed as young adults, their education in high school or college, and in some cases, their experience as parents. We embrace the diversity that America provides us and leverage it to create high-functioning teams who not only strive for personal, individual excellence, but they embrace our core values and see the best in one another, lift each other up, and see each other as wingmen and teammates for life. Of course, they didn't do this alone. During the passing review, you were introduced to their MTIs. But for every one MTI that was introduced, there were at least 3 others that were instrumental in the development and molding of each graduate. These professionals are handpicked for this important role, leaving their specialties to spend 3 years investing themselves and sacrificing to create the generation of airmen and specialists who will one day replace them and me. Like our graduates, this diverse team comes from across our great country and bring with them tactical prowess, technical expertise, and professional experience. But the most important things they bring with them are their leadership skills, passion, and dedication as non-commissioned officers. I can't think of a more important job than military training instructor, and every one of them in formation, in the stands, and busy back at one of the other 9 squadrons right now deserve our greatest thanks. Let's hear it for our MTIs. Major Glover, Senior Master Sergeant Hughes, Lieutenant Colonel Fenster, and Chief Keegan, congratulations on yet another impressive class of Raiders and Gators. Today, the latest chapter in the proud history of both of your squadrons are written, and I know your graduates are ready to take on the challenges our country faces. Airmen and specialists, you're completing basic training at an important time for our country. The challenges we face are daunting, and we're going to ask much of you during your service. Today, you're rightly focused on graduating BMT and getting to technical training, but before you know it, you'll be at your first operational assignment, serving your important role in strategic competition. You're at the very beginning of your careers, but for those that stick around a while, you're going to experience mind-boggling advances in technology, innovations in how we train. Our enthusiastic embrace of diversity and inclusion in the force will continue to make this a place where everyone can succeed, and the only limitations are those we place on ourselves. As we accelerate change, the pace of innovation, the power of our forces will only grow. In 2047, the Air Force will turn 100, and the Space Force will turn 28. It may be difficult for you to believe today, but in 2047, some of you will still be in uniform. You will be the senior leaders. What our Air Force is as it enters its 2nd century and what the Space Force is at 28 is in your hands. That begins today. So I have just one question for you. Are you ready to join the ranks of the world's greatest air and space forces? Semper Supra, indeed.
Flight commanders, place your flights at attention. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand as Colonel Pixley will now administer the oath of enlistment.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same. And that I will obey the orders of the President of the United States. And the orders of the officers appointed over me. According to regulations and the Uniform Code of Military Justice. So help me God. Congratulations, airmen and specialists. Welcome to the world's greatest air and space forces.
Thank you, Colonel Pixley. Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for the singing of the Air Force song, followed by the departure of the official party. Congratulations, Airmen and Guardians, on achieving this historic milestone that marks the beginning of your career. Flight commanders, dismiss your flights. For your safety, we ask that you refrain from running onto the retreat pad. Families with members in the Drum and Bugle Corps are asked to wait for their airmen at ECP-1 while they secure their